Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back. Today I'm here with another Way Back Wednesday where I will be talking about all the books that I read in July of 2021. Looking at my Goodreads, I read a total of 7 books, which is awesome. I did pretty good that month. I will only be talking about 6 of them. Looking back, one of those books has been published by St. Martin's Press. The boycott against St. Martin's Press is still going on, and I will not be crossing that line. So, here are the other 6 books that I read that month. The first book I read was The House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. I had been hearing about this book and heard that it was a horror book, so I picked it up. Not really horror. I mean, I guess it kind of is. I didn't realize it was young adult when I picked it up. I did enjoy it. You are following a family who basically has been cursed, and it's a family of sisters, and things keep happening to the sisters where some of them are being killed, and then it's also kind of like a take on the story The 12 Dancing Princesses, where, the princesses go out at night and dance and not knowing that they're dancing with monsters, and then, bad things happen. That's an old fairy tale. I really liked this one at the time. There is a second one that's been released. I don't remember what the name of it is. I haven't read it, but I want to because I do remember enjoying this one. I'll probably read this one first and then read the sequel. I don't know if there's going to be more or not. But if you're looking for like a young adult, creepy, horror-ish novel, I recommend that one. The next book I read was Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez. I had heard about this book from Jordaline Reads here on YouTube, and I bought it for myself for my birthday this year, in 2021, not this year, because I read it 3 years ago. Anyway, in this book, you are following a group of teens who go into the woods, even though there is a local legend about a monster killer in the woods. They go up there and find out that maybe the legend isn't as fictional as they thought. I really liked this book. It actually ended up being the first book in a trilogy. I have not read the other 2 books in the series yet. Those are Halloween Slaughter and The Final Slaughter. I believe that one just came out earlier this year, and I'd like to check them out. It's just when I read this one, the other ones hadn't been released, and I just haven't gotten back to reading them yet, but maybe I'll do that, later this fall, because I really did like this. This is a horror, it's a slasher. There are some gruesome scenes in here, so just a warning about that, but I liked it. It would be, I know summer's basically over, but this was a good read for summer because it takes place at a summer camp. The next book I read in July was Immortal in Death by J.D. Robb. This is the 3rd book in the In Death series. So you are still following Eve Dallas. She is a police detective, like a homicide investigator in the future. This time, one of her friends, who is a high fashion model, is killed, and so she gets thrown into the wild world of fashion. All of these books kind of follow the same formula. Someone dies, someone connected to Eve is one of the suspects or the one who died, and then she finds out what happens. And she's not happy about going through the investigation. I don't know. These are kind of just like popcorn thrillers. I'm pretty sure there's 30 of them in this series now. I think there's only one more that I've actually read because I just stopped getting them from the library. But they're fun. They're, again, quick little crime thrillers if you're into stuff like that. And I've said before, J.D. Robb is actually a pen name for Nora Roberts. So if you like her romance stuff, you may like this series too. The next book I read was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is the only Ruth Ware book that I've read. And when I look back at it, I gave it a 4-star. But when I think about it, I don't know if I would, especially now, would not have given it a 4-star. I mean, this was okay. It was, again, a high-paced thriller. You are following a woman who is on a cruise ship. She is there, I believe, as a journalist. Her boss was supposed to go, but she couldn't for some reason, I think. And on one of her first nights there, this woman sees another person in cabin 10, but when she asks about that woman, they say no one's in that cabin. And so she's trying to figure out, what happened to that woman. Is she crazy? This is another case of an unreliable narrator. So, that works for a lot of mystery thrillers, crime thrillers, things like that. Unreliable alcoholic narrators where you're trying to figure out if they were just drunk or if they really, what they saw actually happened. And I don't really, I remember parts of it, but it's not a book that stuck with me. Again, if I read it now, I don't think that I would give it 4 stars. The next book I read was Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. This is basically Haunted IKEA. That's it in a nutshell. Haunted IKEA. You are following a character who works for some store that I can't remember the name of. Again, I should have probably looked up the synopses of these books, but I'm not in the mood to, so I didn't. There's a woman, they're doing inventory, so she has to come in at night, but then creepy things keep happening, and they get lost in the not IKEA, haunted IKEA, and she has to make her way out. I feel like this is a very typical Grady Hendrix story. It's campy, it's silly, it's very far-fetched. If you're going to read this one, I suggest that you either read the physical copy or an ebook copy, because at the beginning, each chapter is named after a type of furniture from the store, and it has the specs about it and a little picture about how you might use it in your house like an IKEA would. So I think that you would enjoy it more if you have the physical book or at least the ebook so that you can see those pictures versus just listening to it. I don't think it's going to have the same impact if you listen to this one as an audiobook. The last book I read in July of 2021 was Kin by Kealan Patrick Burke. This is another book that I had heard about from Jordaline Reads, and I had bought it for my birthday that year. Finally got around to reading it. In this book, it starts out with a lone woman traveling down the road. You find out that she has escaped from being captured. The more you get into it, you find out that she was captured by a family of cannibals and was lucky enough to escape before, serious harm came to her. So in this book, you are following her. She also wants to find the cannibals again, the family again, so that she can go back and get revenge. But you also get a point of view from that family. So you're kind of seeing what it's like growing up in that house and in that family. So you're getting both perspectives of this crime, horrific ordeal that happened to this girl. I used to own this book. Like I said, I bought it for my birthday. I got rid of it again, though. It was an interesting book. I had not read much. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even consider that extreme horror, but at the time that was leaning towards more extreme horror than I normally read. But it took me a while to read. It took me a while to get into. It's not something I wanted to read again, and so I ended up unhauling that book. But I did read it, and I've read more of Kealan Patrick Burke's works. That is hard to say. I have read more of Kealan Patrick Burke's stories, and I've enjoyed some of them much more than I enjoyed Kin. But if you're looking for a horror book that has some graphic scenes in it about a family of cannibals, then check out Kin. Those are all the books that I read in July of 2021. Not a lot, but the ones that I did read, a majority of them I enjoyed, and some of them I'd like to go back and read again. So now I want to know, have you read any of these books? What did you think? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.